On this episode of Soldier Tech Battlefield, we're going to be pitting Android against iOS once again, but this time it's going to be to see which one is going to be the best for gaming. So let's go and start the show. Hey, what's up guys? I'm your host Mark Watson, otherwise known as Soldier Knows Best, and this is another episode of Soldier Tech Battlefield. It's good to see you again. But on this episode, we're going to be taking a look to see which OS is going to be best for gaming. Is it going to be iOS or Android? Because that's probably the #1 thing that people do on their mobile phones besides Twitter and Facebook. It's going to be playing games on there. So I'm going to be taking a look at the selection of games. I'm going to be taking a look at the graphics and also multiplayer. So it's going to start this battle off with the selection. Now, both Android and iOS have plenty of games to satisfy most people's needs as far as the casual games like Angry Birds or Worlds with Friends, or the action games or racing games and adventure games and things like that. But I feel that iOS still has a better selection of games. Now, first of all, iOS still gets the majority of the games first. So if there's going to be a game out there that's being developed and a lot of money is being put behind it, more than likely it's either going to come out on both platforms at once, or it's going to come out on iOS and then be eventually ported over to Android a few months down the line, or even up to a year down the line. And second, iOS does have a better selection of iOS only games out there like Infinity Blade and different games that are really tailor-made for iOS, and particularly the iPhone or the iPad, so they can really draw all the power out of those devices to make their games as best as possible. But again, like I said, you know, if you go on Android, you start looking to the Google Play Store, I mean, you're going to be able to find something for you, but iOS just seems to have a better selection and just a more of games that are really going to be able to draw your attention. And again, it does get the best games first. So as far as selection, I'm going to have to give this category to iOS. Now, moving on to the next category, this is going to be graphics, or the visual of the games. Now, like I said before, iOS does have some iOS only games like Infinity Blade, which look absolutely amazing. But if you look at games that are released on both iOS and Android, just like the games that are released on the Xbox and the PlayStation 3 at the same time, the games mostly look similar as far as the visuals. But I have experience like with Modern Combat 4, playing that on my HTC One versus playing it on my iPhone 5. I felt that the HTC One, the Android device, was pumping out just some better visuals there. And that may be more in part to the hardware itself of the HTC One, but for the most part, I'm gonna have to give this graphics category a tie, because both of them have games that kind of outshine each other, more so on the iOS side. But when you look at games that are released on both platforms, they're very, very similar to each other. So this graphics category is going to be a tie. Now, this last category is going to be multiplayer. Now, developers can make multiplayer an option in the game separately, like Gameloft does and other game companies like that. And so you can do multiplayer within the same games like Modern Combat 4. You can always do multiplayer. But iOS has gone a step further with Game Center, which is something that is basically like Xbox Live for a mobile platform. And this allows you to add friends and to see what games your friends are playing and challenge them to different games and see their high scores and things like that. Where Android, it's rumored that Android is going to be having a Game Center-like functionality being brought to it here soon, but for right now, you're only allowed to really do multiplayer within the games itself as the developers have set up. So that can require multiple accounts that you have to do and things like that, where iOS has that one central place that developers can use in conjunction with their own multiplayer platform, which just makes it a lot easier for the consumer. So I'm going to have to give this multiplayer category to iOS, but I can't wait to see the Android version of Game Center and when that thing is released. All right, so that wraps up this battle between iOS and Android as far as games, and the winner is going to be iOS. Now, iOS to me still has, again, the better selection of applications, and alongside Game Center, which some people may not use a lot, but at least it's there for you to be able to keep track of all your different things and add friends and stuff like that. I think iOS as far as gaming is just slightly ahead of Android, but again, the year is still young. We still have a lot to see from Android, so I will keep track of this. But I want you guys to leave a comment down below what you think about this battle between iOS and Android as far as gaming. And also too, if you have any other devices or categories you want to see me battle here on Soldier Tech Battlefield, please let me know. And like always guys, I want to thank you for watching, and I will catch you later. Peace.